matters. Okay, so this lunchtime, my elite team of postgrads are going to go straight out the back. It's been suggested to me that maybe, just maybe, you didn't know where they were. As you come down the steps from the entrance into that main auditorium, they are immediately on your right. Their posters will be pinned up, okay? So they are immediately on your right. So get out there, have a chat to them. You know, you don't need to know anything of what they're talking about. What you've got to go there and see is, can they tell you what they're doing in a way that makes sense? It's a real litmus test for this crew. And I tell you what, it sharpens them up. There's no way better to learn how to speak to industry than to speak to industry. So, look, take it upon yourselves to train up your own team of researchers for the future. I tell you, it'll make a big difference. So our first researcher for today that's going to be telling us about her work is Sarah John. And Sarah's enrolled at Murdoch University over in Western Australia, and she's researching tough mothers, believe it or not. So, Sarah, I suspect you're probably one. Do they exist in merinos?
Thanks, Guards. A couple of experiments feeding merino ewes sawdust has given me a real appreciation for just how good our merino ewes can be. Now, we heard some great stories yesterday from producers, and we heard a little bit from them about how they're dealing with their skinny ewes. They're condition scoring them, they're drafting them off, they're feeding them up, you know, and they've got a real eye for how it's affecting their productivity. What about those really terrific ewes that they've just flicked straight back out into the paddock? The good doers. And what is it about those good doers that makes them good doers? Now, you've actually seen my graph already. Dr. Thompson had it up on the wall yesterday, showing this correlation that we've got between genetic fat and a ewe's ability to hold her weight or lose less weight when times are a bit tough. I've simplified it by throwing out one of the lines, so we're only looking here at ewes on a restricted diet. So they're restricted to about 60% of their maintenance energy requirements. And I really like to put a face on these ewes. So on your left side up there, you've got number 63. And over the course of my experiment, 63 lost 8 kilos. In the other corner, we've got 52. Similar sized ewe, 55, 60 kilos, on exactly the same diet, over the same period. Not only did this ewe hold her own, she gained 1.5 kilos, eating cardboard. These ewes are still the backbone of our sheep, meat and wool industries. And across the Australian flock, we've got a terrific variation in the doing ability of these ewes. So I'd love you to come on over to my poster and have a talk about the possibility that we can select ewes and build whole flocks of tough mothers.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sarah. So our next speaker, I actually quite like introducing this bloke because many of you possibly know him already. His name's James Whale. Now, he works with Mike Stevens and Associates, and he's one of these particular people that we've identified in industry and said, yeah, this person we could be pushing him to the next level. So while staying in his job, get this is how tough this is. He's got to do his job and do his masters at the same time. So James Whale is enrolled at Melbourne University, and he's looking at mating ewe lambs. So Sir James, can that be done in merinos?
Yeah, thanks, Graham. I'd like to just quickly for a couple of minutes share with you some of the trials that we've been running. And yes, we've had some really successful results, I must say, with large-framed, plain-bodied merinos. We've run 2 trials in central Victoria with ewes joined to lamb at 8 and 9 months of age, and in both those trial flocks, we have weaned in excess of 70% lambs last year. So yeah, look, they are very pleasing results. And I think one of the secrets to doing this and doing it well is really, it's got nothing to do with age. That's something we've, as an industry, sheep breeders, we've really got to start thinking about. It's got nothing at all to do with age. It's to do with body development. Body development really being the trigger to reproduction, and we've heard a lot about it the last couple of days. Fat, live weight, these are the things that we need to be thinking about. So the reason for this photo, these ewes have were one of the trial flock mobs, and this is their day of weaning. So they're something like around 16 months of age, and I want to dispel a myth that joining ewes to lamb at young ages wrecks them for life. Do these ewes look stunted to you? Do you think that they're going to have problems getting in lamb next year? No, they're not. So it's all about appropriate nutrition. And that was the second thing in this study that I really wanted to look at was, does it pay? It's all very well we can increase production by feeding better, etc. But at the end of the day, does it put more money in your pocket? So, just briefly to cover on some of those things, supplementary feeding price obviously has a big impact. We need more feed to get them to these weights. Also, your reproductive success, and we're talking about in excess of 70% lambs weaned, so we're certainly on the right track there. And also, but what was really interesting on top of that is that the pasture type that you're running these ewes on, as well as your production location, does have a big impact as well on how much extra you're going to have to feed to get them to achieve these weights. So, yeah, please, if you're interested in this, come down to my poster and we'll have a chat.
Fantastic. Thanks, James. Sarah, our next speaker is Sam Walcombe. Now, he's based at Adelaide University, and he's researching reproduction and fatness in ewes. And Sam, the big question for you is, can we actually breed for this?
Thanks, Graham, and thank you everyone for coming along. I think you can, and I think it holds up through the ewe's life. My work is focused around ewe composition and the performance of fat and muscle throughout the reproductive cycle. As you can see in this image, we can't use cosmetic surgery in sheep, but we can use genetics, and we can breed for that type of ewe that we want. The work I've shown with MCPT is if you select on condition score or fat score, this holds up throughout the productive cycle. I'm also doing work with Tom Bull from LambPro and Stefan Spiker, where we're measuring fat and muscle depth throughout the reproductive cycle and linking this back to reproductive performance. If you want to have a chat about this, I'll be out at my post and I'll be glad to talk to all of you. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic. So our final speaker for today, many of you have probably seen this man in action before. Believe it or not, he's actually doing his PhD. It's Andrew Kennedy. He was based in Western Australia and he is enrolled through the University of WA there. And he's recently moved back to Victoria, so he's back with Vic DPI down there in Hamilton. And Ox, as he's affectionately known, is researching cold, hard cash. I just don't know what that means, Ox. So can you explain that to me, please?
Thanks, Graham. Well, it's not all about the cash, mate, but it's a very strong motivator in what you do in your business. And yes, consumer is king and everything else at the end of the day, but I reckon you've all got bank managers and overdrafts and different levels of those. So within my involvement within the CRC has been to take a lot of the aspects that I've been talking about over the last few days in terms of selection for genetic traits and what that selection means in a whole farm profit sense, and what are the key priorities, what's the mix of things that you need in your farm business that's going to make you money. Quite often when we select for different traits, there's also correlations, some positive, some negative. We can move a sheep very quickly within 2 to 3 to 4 years in a different direction. And we're basically trying to look at doing the economics behind the genetic selection strategies to ensure that we're going the right way. So today, just up on that slide, it all centres around cash, but what is the combination? And there's a poster out there, we've just picked out a little component on what should the right turn-off weight for lambs be, depending on your different mature sizes and etc. like that. So come and have a chat and talk about the dynamics of whole farm economics.
Sensational. Thanks, buddy. So like I said, the posters, as you walk down the steps into that main auditorium out there, they are immediately on your right. And this team are going to go straight there. They'll be standing by their posters and absolutely dead keen to speak to you over lunch. Go and test them out, seriously. Go and see whether or not they can get, through some pretty complex science, in an understandable fashion. That's a real skill, and it's not as easy as it may sound, I can assure you. I've occasionally had to go myself and tend to stuff it up. So I want to see how these guys go and see if they can actually improve on that. Now, at this point, is there a chance that we could cross to the JBS bone-out trailer out the back there? Is that... Oh, there we go. G'day, Greg. How you going, buddy?
Good yourself, Graham.
Greg, have you got Lise there?
Yeah, we got Lise here.
Fantastic. All right, so that's Lise Panier from Murdoch Uni, ladies and gentlemen. She's been flat out helping Greg out. Lise, you look exhausted.
Yes, I am, definitely. Coughing out a leg.
Yeah, okay. Greg, can she handle a knife?
Oh, she's going quite well there. She's actually doing an easy carved leg of lamb. How's that? How easy is this? She's all got under control here.
Got a bone here.
She's taking the bone out. What else are you going to do there? Pull out the knuckle?
Pull out the muscle.
Yeah.
It's actually very easy to do.
And then what we're going to have is an easy carved leg of lamb. Why do we call it an easy carved leg of lamb? Because it's easy to carve. How simple is that?
I could easily do this at home.
There you go.
Geez, that came off easy, Lise.
Yes, it did, definitely.
Yeah. How good's that? Now, what we're going to do there is take that out after we roll that out, and then we've got all this in here. We can actually put, what are we going to put in there?
Some nice stuffing, you know.
Yeah? What sort of stuffing? With a bit of garlic, chilli?
Garlic, rosemary, some mustard.
Oh, rosemary. Wow. Wow. Doesn't that go well with lamb? And then all we need to do then from there is simply roll that over and truss it off there, put some string around it, and we have a simply easy carved leg of lamb. And it's so easy to do and easy to carve.
Geez, that makes a very nice value-added product.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That looks sensational.
So how will that help you at home, Lise?
This definitely will help me. I can serve dinner in 5-10 minutes instead of doing it much longer. So definitely good help.
And by the looks of those nice skills, Greg, she'll be able to chase Stuart, her husband, around the kitchen a bit more efficiently.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, thank you very much.
You.
So at this point in time, our chair will take over proceedings again, and I suspect call on for lunch.
Yeah, good. And thank you to Graham and his students.